Hello and welcome. My name is David Gaisford. This is my presentation for Data 625, Section 9081, Data Visualization, Unit 4 for Professor Fred Kiwanuka, University of Maryland Global Campus. Today, we're going to walk through a Tableau story explaining some recent trends in the U.S. labor market. My analysis is going to focus on data available from Fred, the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, from dates of January 2023 through to the present, with forecasts extending into 2025. Starting off, we have unemployment. Time series graph here. You can see unemployment is on the rise and doesn't really appear to show signs of stopping. Tableau forecasts that it continue to rise towards 4.5% through December of 2025, with a 95% confidence interval between roughly 3.9% and 4.7%. Next up, we have labor force participation. This shows us the percent of workers in the actively in the workforce. You can see it's a very steady or relatively flat across this time frame, right around 63% participation, with very little change over the previous 2 years. So all things fair and equal, Tableau is forecasting a continued steady participation, again, right around that 63%. The 95% confidence interval is relatively unchanged. Next, we look at job openings compared to unemployment rate. So we have a dual line chart comparing those two. At the start of 2023, job openings were over 10 million. On the left axis, you can see job openings are in thousands, with a decrease to present day right around 7.8 million. Tableau predicts that this will continue to fall through December 2025, down to around 6.5 million, with a 95% confidence interval, anywhere from about 7.5 million down to about 5.9. You can also see that unemployment, as described earlier, is on the rise, with the Tableau forecast showing it a continued rise. In our next graph, we're going to look at consumer price index versus unemployment rate. You can see consumer price index across the x-axis at about 300 points to 320 points, with unemployment from about 3.4 up to 4.2. There's also a linear trend line here. This trend line has an R-squared value of 0.82 roughly, and a p-value less than 0.0001. This shows a strong positive correlation, suggesting that our higher consumer price index is associated with higher unemployment during this time period. Next up, we're going to look at state unemployment. So we'll get a little more granular here. Looking at the state unemployment data, this is from February of 2025. You can see that South Dakota has the lowest unemployment at about 1.9%, with Nevada at the highest at 5.8%. Outside of that, the remaining of the United States falls somewhere between the 2.5% and 4.5% unemployment. Again, this particular graph is just for February of 2025. So key takeaways for all this, what does this tell us? This shows that unemployment is gradually increasing. It's on the rise despite job openings being on the decline. A simple explanation would be that if people are taking jobs, so if job openings are decreasing, then unemployment should also be decreasing. However, there are a lot of factors that go into this. So those jobs may not be being taken by somebody that might be actually being removed from the workforce entirely. So there's not even options. So there's a lot of other factors that go into this kind of analysis. I'm not an economist, so I'm not going to try and go too far into that. But despite the strong correlation, there's obviously some other variables that need to be considered when looking at this. Over the time period, labor force participation has remained unchanged. So that shows us that there is a equal inflow and outflow of workers into the force. Finally, across the United States, there's a wide variance of unemployment from state to state, with some at or above the national average and others well below it. For references, I pulled all this data from Fred, again, this the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. We have the civilian labor force participation rate, consumer price index, job openings, unemployment rate, and then from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, we have the unemployment rates by state for that last graph. Thank you for listening.